Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, let me talk about a very important area, which is creating a proper, what is generally called witness, or an energy contact with someone else. Now, this could even be you personally, because IGOS products are based on the transfer of energetic informational fields which are created. These are not digital fields, these are energetic informational fields which are tried and true and work well. There's lots of other information I've talked about as of recent, which is all unproven, which is certainly fascinating, but we know what works, we know what's tried and true, we know what's been used for literally thousands of years to be effective. Now, when we're talking about a witness, we're talking about a connection to a person, place, or thing. Now, generally, we're talking about a person. As I mentioned, it could be you. So you want to send energy to yourself, you want to get the energy out of one of our books, well, you insert a witness in there. Now, what are the perfect witnesses? And I'm going to tell you how to make a perfect witness, which is critical. You know, if you're not transferring the energy to you at the highest possible level, and we're talking about subtle energy physics here. These are not gross energetic fields. You're talking about informational energetic fields, which are extremely powerful, but also very subtle in our physical world we live in. You have to handle this correctly if you want to transfer. So transferring things like healing energies, prosperity, protection, well, this gets into what you could consider the higher ranges of informational energetic fields. Getting down to low fields, things like radiation, frequencies, etc. These are Hertzian type or very measurable fields. When you get into the quantum physics, the lowest level of measurement, which is what quantum means, you are then getting it. Now we're getting to an area where they are measurable. And as I always say, if I had the money to go out there and make all these meters, we could detect these. So it's not like they don't exist, because that's what a lot of dumb bunkers say, that they don't exist, there's no proof. Well, that's nonsense, of course. So they do exist and there, but they're different energetic fields. That's why it's so difficult to get results with these kind of energies. They then mix with your energetic informational fields of, well, what do you have? How is things going to manifest for you? How much of an attack are you under? How potentially subtle energy ill are you? So then things have to work on you, and it takes time. So it's very, very high work. I mean, this is the tips of the tops of working with someone to change their life. So it is extremely difficult, but of course this has been done for thousands of years through the use of informational energetic fields, through magic, rituals, gods, etc. It all boils down to the same thing, even though these are different fields to some extent, and we're trying to research what the difference is there. But regardless of all that, these fields is what's being that we generate. Like our books, you get a book, and it's an empowered book. All the energy's in there. It's really a talisman. You know, to a certain extent, while there's fantastic techniques in the books, it's almost secondary, because, you know, where it really comes down to it, what do we all want? We want our lives to change quickly and fast without no work. So the whole idea is that, and even if you do the techniques in the book, you need the boost. The boost is initially the actual book itself, and looking at the sigils which start going into your consciousness and making things happen, because your regular mind is not strong enough. So it has to go in there, and that's all part of it. But how do you get that energy into you all the time? Well, of course, there's two ways of doing it in terms of basically the three items that we offer. One, of course, is the books, which most people are still like books. They're physical, they're big, they're beautiful books. You can see them online. But they're charged talismanic books. I keep repeating that. You got to understand that. The other thing is that, of course, we have these scalar energy discs. A lot of them have their CD type discs that have some have information on them, which you can listen to that talk about the book, hearing directly from the author, which is a lot of fun. which gives you more information. But what's important about these scalar energy disks is that you put a witness on them and you close the case. Now you're doing a radionic magical ritual right all in one that you get. Again, what a fantastic tool, just like the books. But they're less expensive than the books, that you can carry them all around, and you could potentially have hundreds of these and still not take up much space. So there's a great benefit there, which is the reason why we make these, and we'll have many more coming. Of course, the master of all is using an amulet, which has your personal energy built into it because your picture's on one side. So these are fantastic. You can check those out. But I don't want to get into all that there too much. So how to make the perfect witness? Well, as I said, there's a lot of talk out there about different things and digital energy fields, which are fascinating, but digital energy, regardless of how you amplify it, is still not real energetic informational fields that we are accustomed to. There has been hundreds of years and thousands of years of research that have went into capturing energy fields directly. Now, digital does this to a degree. And there's a debate and whether you can amplify it or not. Well, it's still not tried and true, and we're looking into it. You will get some results from a digital photograph. But is that the best witness? Is that the best connection to you? Well, not really. One of ancient practitioners, I think we've heard about this, if nothing else, from a lot of bad movies. Well, when you're getting cursed, what do? And of course, this hasn't changed, by the way. Even if you're not cursing somebody, connecting to him, you will get the hair. Fingernails. These are the type of things that have the energy of that person in it. It's part of you. Your fingernails have all your DNA in it that your entire body has. So does your hair. So everything is in there to a large degree. And of course your DNA is in there, so is replicating your entire being. So what people would do would be to get those types of things from a person, and of course then you would send energy to it. Now this is done even in more modern times with radionic consciousness machines. What was commonly used was just, if you really want to get someone's energetic information, well, you use blood. Drop of blood. Now, we're not talking about cutting your finger open here. If you want to use some blood with different things, there's nothing wrong with that. So it's a great way to get the real essence of yourself or someone else. The easiest way to do this is to get a diabetic blood unit. These are little spring things that have tiny little needles, and you prick your finger. Generally, it doesn't hurt at all, and you then can get a drop of blood out. Well, it's a good way to really get through it instead of potentially using other things, which we'll talk about as well. But I mean, your blood is obviously your entire essence of your body. So it's a great way to do that. But there is, when you get into energies, when we get back to the way of building this witness. Now, you generally start off with any witness. You start off with several things. So the best thing to start off with is what's called a Polaroid or instant camera type picture. Now, these were things that people think are no longer available. I guess everybody's heard of Polaroids. They were very big in the 70s, getting an instant picture. This is before computers and printers, so boom! What a lot of fun. You get an instant picture. You didn't have to go down and wait 2 weeks to get it developed. So you had it. So it was very popular technology, although picture-wise, the image was always kind of poor. But the bottom line, in terms of a person who is a manifesting occult scientist, it captures the energy. Now, the energy from the camera, which are based in the photon waves. So the photon energies bounce off the person when you press the trigger on a camera. So you open up the photons that then bounce off that person, go back into the film, holding the informational energy field, and then put it into the film directly, because you are getting the developer there. So it doesn't have to go through some digital process which eliminates a lot of the energy. How much, we don't know, but it certainly isn't the greatest way of doing things, particularly in general. So if you're trying to amplify digital, or you're trying to use it in any way? Well, you do have to amplify it, and you have to do a whole bunch of things to it, which is very complicated, which the average person can't do. And I'm still not convinced that this is the best way to go. So the point is, you get all that, and boom, it goes in. It's a very simple process to do this. And these cameras are readily available. You can get them on Amazon and everywhere else. They're made by Fuji. It's the Intra 6 or 8 or whatever. But you can find that, and there's a few people making them out there. There's also old cameras you can get for original Polaroids if you want to, and I think someone's making Polaroid cameras again. So it's just the technology, and the film is all made by the same person. You use all the same films, and these you can buy everywhere, and they cost anywhere from, I don't know, like 30 to 50 cents a picture. Now, these are not to get great pictures of it. You can certainly use these cameras for fun and play at home, but these are not the best way to go. And of course, you do have an instant picture, although a kind of a fairly crummy one. So they're not really good for that except for fun. But they are perfect for picking up the energy. So any object that you take a picture of, you're going to capture the energy of it in a picture like this. Well, we've went to the next level of that. We found that yes, but we can draw in double the amount of energy by using different items that we actually place on the camera. These are things like tachyons and scalar energy antennas and other empowered symbols we use. There's several things, and we're always changing and finding better ways. So we found that you can double the energy signature in there. What does that mean? That means double the energy going to you, meaning you've captured your energetic informational field at pretty much the highest level that can be done at this time. You have the picture, it comes out and develops right there in front of you. Fine. As I said, you don't have to worry about, is it clear, does it look, doesn't matter. Your energy is in there. That's all that it's about. So you don't want to take many, many pictures, waste a lot of money to get a pretty picture. That's not what you're doing. So you have right there, you could take that, particularly if you use our camera, put that right in the book. So you can also get one of these other cameras if you have to. I recommend this to people who can't obtain ours for one reason or another. There's a lot of people living around the world. It's very expensive to have stuff sent from the United States around the world. So if you have to get one of these other cameras, you can find them on your local, if you have a Amazon in your country. Or you'd go to a camera store. I'm sure they all have it. So the whole idea is they're made by Fuji. They're instant cameras. The film is readily available as well. So all around the world. So that's something to look into if you're outside the United States. Now, we highly recommend, even if you are, to get our powerful camera. With subtle energies, every little bit counts. So we highly recommend that everyone. But what is recommended and what is practical in your life is another. We try and help everybody and get you results. So how's the other way to bring them? Well, we like to bring up the energies even more. Now, a great way is you just clip a tiny bit of hair off, put it on a piece of tape, clear Scotch type tape, just a teeny bit. You don't need to cut a big chunk of a lock of hair off. You're just taking a bit. You take that bit of hair, you put it anywhere on the photograph, generally the front of the photograph where the image is, and you tape that onto it so that the hair sticks to it. So again, very, very little. You can also, if you want, use a drop of blood on there. And what I usually do is, again, cover that little drop of blood up once it dries with tape again. So these are ways of doing it. So if you're trying to get things from other people or they supply things, well, this is a great way that they can make their own sample for you, your witness, by doing this themselves. Or you can have them send you little bits of hair. You can tape hair onto a white piece of paper, put a little blood spot on it, and they can send that to you. And now you're connected to them at a very strong level. Now, if you can get a photo, obviously you're getting even better because there is a holographic type empowerment when you have a picture of someone, which the energies are complicated. So pictures are where you start. You then empower the picture with hair and blood. You could also use nail clippings, other things. So any kind of bodily fluids to a large degree can be assisted. Now, these vibrate you, and that's what you're trying to connect with. Now, if you're a healer or something, this helps a lot if you get something like this from a or even a psychic. It's difficult for people to do this in the longer term if you want quick instant results. But if you have somebody send you a picture like this, they tape a little hair on it, well, you've got a very strong connection to that person. And one of the problems we found with all types of psychic and ritual work is making that connection to the person, getting locked into them to the degree that you can really affect them. And it's difficult to do that without some representation. Now, again, pictures are great in terms of, in general, even digital, which we use a lot of ourselves because we have to for different manufacturing processes and other things. But these are strengthened by the fact that we are sending certain energies into them. But if you're trying to do readings on somebody and lock into them, you're not locking into their digital pattern. And this needs to be fully understood. You're locking into their energetic pattern, which has been represented to you in a digital format. Well, you do what you have to do, as I said, but this is not optimum. This is a tough area. I like to use the most optimum empowerments that I can. So, one thing about Polaroids is they're notoriously energetic grabbers, and you can produce all sorts of amazing effects, and I've done this. You go to power spots, graveyards, and you use Polaroid cameras. Now, this has happened sometimes with 35 millimeter cameras and so forth. And I don't know if people have done this with digital cameras or not. I'm sure there's probably somebody out there. But you're making the process a lot harder because it's not a sensing process that you get the same with the energetics. You're using a chemical process when you use a Polaroid film. There's chemicals there, physical chemicals, that the light interacts with. Okay, so the photons, which carry the information, as they do with everything, that's what lasers do for all sorts of things, which is still highly overlooked in this day and age by energetic practitioners because they're kind of ignorant of this area. But the actual photons mix with physical chemicals that are there, creating this very energetic medium. Now, this doesn't happen with digital. Digital is picking up a certain percentage of the energy, transferring that through components and other things. And this is kind of still an unknown area, but it has been proven that electronics do hold things to a degree. I just think it's inferior at this point, and we haven't really tested things properly. People are very quick to jump into technology for the sake of technology and for the ease of use and the lower cost. Does that make it better? No. So it's still an unknown area, and people claim a lot of stuff and they can't prove anything. So all of that is has to be fully understood. So when you're trying to work things like this and doing it, it's a very minor investment in this world to get yourself one of our cameras, follow through with this, take a little time to make a good witness that energy can be sent to. It's a small investment because, if you're going to be using these things all the time, you need this technology. If you're doing this occasionally, well, maybe you want to use inferior stuff, but if you're going to do this all the time, you're going to invest in books and products and machines, well, do it right so you get the best results. All these digital stuff is in great question. And as I said, if you have digital, you want to make sure you upgrade it with blood and hair and other things. But you're still missing an essence of the actual photons combining with physical material that you get with an actual, quote, Polaroid, the old terminology, or Insta film that has now been taken over by Fuji, who makes all this stuff. Polaroid went out of business, and anybody can buy the recipe for Polaroid and use it now from the bankruptcy courts or whoever owns it now. So the whole idea is that's how it all works, and as such, you are able to access this technology and have it. So it is fun in the regular instant, but in terms of informational energetic fields, there is no better. While some things have been done through digital and other things, I just don't believe in those technologies. It's sloppy technology. It's people trying to save a few bucks instead of using something of high quality. It's an imitation. It's a downgrade. Why do it? This is critical. Invest in something like this. Follow the steps I've given you. And remember, you should be changing these actual witnesses. Every 6 months, you should have a new witness there because of the fact your energy has changed. If you're working on yourself, if you've been on a radionic machine, you've done a lot of rituals, well, your energetic field is different now. So you should use that new energetic field by making a new witness. And this is why this technology is very important for you to have and use all the time. This is tried and true. I've gotten amazing pictures using Polaroids, or I've picked up spirits in graveyards and everything. I've never had this with any kind of digital. Is supposed to make your picture looky better. Now, what you're doing with a Polaroid camera is you're taking the raw energies in, and however they manifest, they manifest. So again, you're not getting those clear, distinctive lines that you get with digital that make pictures look pretty. Well, we're not taking pretty pictures. We're taking energetic pictures. And the sloppiness, the lack of clarity that you get in Polaroid type films, because you're getting kind of a gross picture. Yeah, because you're picking up gross energy. Guess what? That's what you want. Until next time.